My first micro project has begun. This is a 2.4 gigahertz syma X25, I think it's called, and it's a car. Whoa. It's a car that flies, so it comes like that. I've started gutting it because I'm going to use it as a micro FPV, and it's got 4-inch props pretty much, so it's not that micro, but these are geared motors, so they last quite a while. I got 8-9 minutes out of it with a 800 mAh, and with the 1300 mAh running the Spectrum micro FPV setup, I should get 7 or 8 minutes of FPV with this in the front lawn, and it's super quiet, so it won't make a lot of noise or scare people, and it flies really well considering what it is, a $50, $45 quadcopter in Canada. Has lights to tell you when the battery's getting low, so I'll put those in front of the camera so I know when it's getting low. I've stripped off a motor for the rear wheel, which was here. Looks like an NC20 motor, geared. I could still use that for some other project. Took off the wheels. With the weight of this and the weight of the servo, it comes with the servo as well, and I haven't disconnected the servo because it's not really that heavy. It's got a very micro motor on it, as you can see, and it only has about a 45-degree movement, so it was for the steering at the front. And the rear slipped. It has to be glued onto the gear for sure, because it's not glued on, it's just press fit carbon tube or carbon rod. So I might keep the servo for dropping things. You know, I might be able to work it into something like that, or maybe a rudder, because what we're going to be doing is using this styrofoam here for our body and our arms. Now, this is pretty close when the tips come together, so there really isn't a lot of room for FPV at the front. So I want to pull these apart by almost a ½ an inch, make it a larger quad, which means that I'll have to put the motors out here. So this is my square here for my new frame, and I'm going to use carbon fiber Kevlar strips of ½ inch or a centimeter to stiffen it up on the bottom, and that'll protect it from abrasion as well, and it will float, and that's the goal, is to seal it. Now, I would suggest that you take off the board before you put your glue stick on, but it's really important to glue stick all these wires down, because you're not really going to be wanting to change them. You can always change them by cutting them here, but just to make sure that they don't fray or break, because the soldering can be a little bit sketchy from China. And it worked, so I just sealed them all down. Unfortunately, the on-off switch is on the bottom, so I'm going to hardwire that on, and then move my plug-in JST from here upwards so that it's on a mast in the center, plugged in, so that when it hits the water, that's the only electrical area that will be exposed, other than the motors, which are not brushless, so they'll suffer. But we'll try not to hit the water with it too much. It's just an emergency backup, and we'll see how it flies. We're going to try it in the front lawn first. It's got 2.4 gigahertz radio, which I can also boost if I have to. I've also got FPV, the Spectrum, like I said, coming, which technically is a 5-volt camera, but I'm pretty sure it'll work on 4.2. Hopefully. If not, I'm going to have to add a second battery, small lithium battery with the 1300, 50 or 100 mAh or something like that, to get up to 7 volts and run it that way. So there's my mini syma X25 car conversion to micro FPV only, saving extra weight with gutting the parts that you're not going to use. And it does flip.